Hi, I'm Dave Hamilton, Director of Operations at the Advanced Energy Center. On our show today, we'll be exploring energy, both the energy that we require to stay alive and the energy it takes to become stars in our fields of work. Let's get right to it. My guest today is Yacov Shamash. Yacov is a professor at Stony Brook University. Yacov, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm just fine, thank
Good,
you.
good. You have led an exciting, fulfilling journey so far for your career. It's far from over. Why don't you talk a little bit about how you started, where you came from, and how you got to where you are today?
Sure. I came from Washington State University 27 years ago to be the college, the Dean of Engineering at Stony Brook. It has been a very fulfilling experience. It was an incredible journey. We hired a lot of new faculty. We did a lot of new things, including and most notably the Energy Center, which has been a tremendous success, as you know. So I'm looking forward to the next 10 years and seeing how I develop professionally myself, but also continue the success of the Energy Center.
Great. Professional development is key. Even
Yes, sir.
someone who's had the career such as yours is always bigger and better. So we're looking forward to that. Your name has become synonymous with economic development across New York State. How did all that start, and what was your vision when you started thinking about the overall concept?
Well, when I became Dean of Engineering, my first task was to develop the college, and the basis for that development was to be joint efforts with industry, establish relationships with industry. And so over the period of 25 years, that's 24 years while I was Dean of Engineering, we developed tremendous amounts of joint projects with industry. We established a number of new programs funded by the state, NSF, other sources, to promote faculty-industry interactions that will essentially then promote the growth of our graduate student body here. And so as that was developing, a new program, Centers of Excellence program in New York State was established. And one of the first centers was the Center of Excellence in Wireless and IT. There are 10 such centers in the state now, and of course we have 2 of those. And the Advanced Energy Center was essentially established as a center of excellence about 4 years ago to 5 years ago, even though the actual funding to build the facility occurred about 10 years ago. So we built the building, and then we obtained the Center of Excellence thing. And the purpose of this center was to try and commercialize technologies that may be coming out of Stony Brook University or other institutions in the state, and to help them essentially commercialize those technologies and create jobs. So economic development became a natural. As we established many joint and different relationships with industry, economic development became a very important part of what we do here at Stony Brook.
Great. You were, as you said, you were Dean of Engineering, and you're Vice President of Economic Development. Did having those dual roles, as you were starting to envision what economic development was all about, and the centers of excellence and all of that, did having those dual roles help you push things along and create the ecosystem that we currently have here?
Yes, it did, because in my role as a Vice President for Economic Development, I could also bring in the resources from other parts of the university outside the College of Engineering. So that was a very positive thing to do, and I think it helped us establish relationships, stronger relationships with faculty in chemistry, for example, and faculty in the medical school. We're participating with our faculty in the Centers of Excellence, as well as the Centers for Advanced Technology that we have here at Stony Brook.
Right. One of the critical things about economic development is partnerships with industry. It's driving economic growth. It's driving industrial growth. Can you talk a little bit about the outside industrial partners that you've brought in and how they have worked with our research staff and our students here at the university?
Well, over the years, we have probably worked in if we look at the various centers that we have, the various programs like the SPUR program, which promotes interaction between industry and universities. We have probably worked on something like 4,000 different projects with maybe about 500 different companies on the island. And a lot of those companies are small companies that were growing, and we have essentially helped create new jobs and retain jobs, measured by what industry tells us has happened. So over the years, we probably have helped create more than 20,000 jobs on the island, on Long Island.
Outstanding. So the key thing is keeping our finger on the pulse of industry as we're also looking at improving and enhancing what we offer here at Stony Brook University.
Absolutely. It's become critical that you integrate industry partnerships with the university, not only to just commercialize technology, not only just to create jobs, but even more importantly, is to create the next generation workforce that understands and works on problems that are very relevant to our industrial community.
Sure. Well, in that vein, one of the things that has happened under your leadership is the Lean Launchpad program, right?
Yes.
Steve Blanks has created this program out at Stanford. It's
Right.
become kind of like the main go-to with regards to teaching innovation, teaching entrepreneurship. And Stony Brook, correct me if I'm wrong, now has a matriculated undergraduate course
Yes.
focused on that.
Yes, indeed.
What were your thoughts? When you brought that on board and you've helped move that forward, what inspired you to incorporate that into our curriculum?
Again, because it appeared to us we were trying to create an ecosystem that supports entrepreneurship, that supports the development of new enterprises. And that program was an essential component to include there so that we can prepare the workforce for the next generation. And a number of those projects and programs that students worked on has resulted in companies being started up and being successful. So it's really part of the ecosystem that we've developed here at Stony Brook.
And I know it's growing, and I know
Yes.
excuse me, it's going to continue to grow and be a critical tool. So thank you for pulling that together. It's very helpful. Switching gears a little bit back to the Energy Center.
Yes.
So in 2011, you had the ribbon cutting for the Energy Center. You also received the grant and created the Clean Energy Business Incubator Program.
Right.
So both of those are geared towards facilitating and growing energy technology, energy companies. What led you at that time to focus on energy and have the foresight to see that energy was going to be such a critical thing moving forward?
We were very fortunate that we had a friend and a very committed person in the energy field, which was Bob Cattell, who was at the time the CEO of Keyspan. And he and I talked about the need to establish such a center, probably starting around 2008, 2009. And we worked very hard. Bob worked extremely hard to try and get us the funding necessary to essentially build the facility. And we have worked together since then in trying to develop the programs, and that was one of the first programs that we did, in fact, which was, I believe, NYSERDA funded.
Mm-hmm.
And I should mention that you were the person who was a PI on that project, so it wasn't me that actually developed that proposal, you developed that proposal. We worked on, and the focus of the Energy Center has been and continues to be, not to focus on one particular energy sector, not to say, okay, we're going to be a storage center, or we're going to be doing solar, or we're going to do everything. We said, whatever makes sense, we're going to do in that facility. And that has worked remarkably well. And the center has probably over the years now has brought in close to $100 million in external funding to support the research programs here at Stony Brook. So it's been a remarkable journey, and I think it's been extremely successful. Our biggest problem, as you know, is space. We're completely out of space right now.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have.
Yes.
Having researchers want to have the space, having companies want to come in and do incubation.
That's good.
Looking back at the last 8 years of the Energy Center, is there one or two key successes, key research, key partnerships that you've seen that you want to highlight for us today?
I would say essentially the highlight has been in the area of storage, where we were successful in bringing the top researcher in energy storage to the Energy Center. I'm sure that would not have happened if we did not have the facility and the laboratories in that Energy Center. And that has proven to be extremely successful in the amount of research that's been going on, in the number of graduate students being supported on it, and in the funding that we have received from multiple agencies and industries over the past 7-8 years. So that has been a real success, and we have other extremely successful faculty members, researchers working with industry that have worked wonderful, have done some very good, excellent research. We have some companies in the incubator there, as you know, who have been very successful, who have brought in millions of dollars, published hundreds of articles. Received patents for their inventions, and we have a number of programs of which you've been an essential part of that have essentially tried to help these companies grow. So I think overall the center has been a truly successful enterprise.
I agree. I've been grateful for the last couple of years to be involved with it. You had mentioned Bob Cattell. You'd mentioned his role as chairman. We will be speaking with Bob in a future session, so we're going to dive deep with Bob. But I think one of the things Bob brings to the table is his experiences. But the Energy Center also has an advisory board. It has a pretty broad reach of industry partners. If you can talk a little bit about the formation of the advisory board and what you and Bob were thinking of when you pulled that together.
Well, the intent was to remain connected to the business and industrial community so that we don't stray back to our ivory towers as a university and just do things that we are very comfortable with. And so the advisory board was created to try and help steer us in that direction. And so that has, again, worked very well. We have essentially all of the leaders of the utilities in our area, in New York State. We have leadership from the state in the Energy Center, in the Energy Advisory Board, and we have academics also. And it's not just Stony Brook. We have other universities that are involved. City College, for example, has been a member of the board. New York Polytech has been on the board. And so it has been a very successful and very interesting relationship.
Great. No, it's been outstanding. So 10 seconds, final thoughts. What's your forward-looking vision for the Energy Center based on what we've done so far?
I think it will continue being very successful. We have some incredible researchers. We have some incredible relationships with industry. Our biggest problem right now is space, and I'm hoping that over the next 2-3 years we'll solve that problem too.
Great. Well, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate everything that you've done for the Energy Center and economic development in Stony Brook over the years. Looking forward to continuing to work with you. And with that, I'm Dave Hamilton, and this has been Energy.